If you don't think Hydra is an RNG fest, annoying, complete waste of time, you're about to. Let's get into it. What up, team? It's your boy MurderInc here, back again with another banger of a video here. Apologize for the wet hair, just got out of the shower, it's fine. So, what are we talking about today? Hydra. Now, some people like it, some people don't like it. Most people don't like it because, I mean, listen, the boss idea and concept is cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. But there's so much RNG involved and, you know, it feels bad building a really good team and then just having it not work, right? That's terrible game design. It shouldn't feel that way. A lot of it has to do with the 3% mechanic, but a lot of it has to do with the way they paired all of these mechanics together. Now, of course, there's a way to overcome pretty much anything in this game besides the 3%. That can literally make you wipe, but I guess their point is we gave you a free regroup button. So, hey, Raider, don't feel bad. We gave you a free regroup. What if what if 4 of the Hydra bosses decide to chain 4 attacks and that pause button disappears? What then? Yeah, the run's over. So, I mean, at least put it at the end if that's going to be your case. But like I said, if you're not completely disgusted by the Hydra, I mean, personally, I don't really care. I think it's okay. It's kind of annoying to do. I do look at it as more of a chore, which I shouldn't be doing since it's so new. But it's about to get worse. So what am I talking about here? We are talking about the next rotation. So really quickly, moving to my Discord here, HG Senti, the brain, just posted the 4 Hydra heads that's going to start next rotation. Now, this is going to be the 3rd rotation. What do we have here? No red affinity champs. That may be good for some people, that may be bad for some people, but what are the 4 heads? We have Decay, we have Blight, we have Suffering, and then we have Wrath. Now, I've made videos specifically showing you guys what all of the mechanics of these guys are. So if for some reason you're not sure what they do, you can check that video out, but I'm pretty sure if you've been doing the Hydra, you know what these heads do. So quickly, I'll just kind of break it down for you. We have Decay here. Let me move this to the side. Let's head to the Hydra here. Haven't even done my 3 keys yet for the week because I was trying to test something on the test server. I think it's bugged, but if I can test it and it works the way I think, going to be a game changer. So, and it would make next rotation a bit easier. But with that being said, okay, so here are the 4 heads here. We have Blight here in red, then we have Mischief in red to the right of it, followed by Torment, then the blue head of Wrath, then the swap-ins are Suffering, and then it's the head of Decay. So, as mentioned before, the next rotation is going to be green Decay, which is this one here. Then we have a blue Blight. Then we have Suffering, the one with insane health that makes your AoE damage non-existent, even more so than it is now. He's going to be blue. Then we have Wrath again, it's going to be green. Now, why am I making such a big deal about this? I am warning you guys ahead of time. If you have been struggling at all with the Hydra, this is going to be bad. Now, you might be thinking murder. The head of Mischief is the worst one. It can consume you. You can't target it. What do? True, that one is annoying, but there are many ways to deal with that, whether it's Geomancer, whether it's Mashald, putting up good AoE damage, or just using HP burn in general. The problem is Head of Decay, which cleanses all of your debuffs, and then puts a shield in a separate turn on the lowest health champion, and it's not a small shield, I think we all know that. Paired with the Head of Blight. Now, just a brief rundown of what these 2 things do. I mean, let me just go ahead and throw in a random team here, just so we can get into a fight, so I can kind of click on the skills of the champions that are remaining. I think it'll be easier for me to explain something like that. Maybe not, it could be crazy. I probably should have just put 2 Hegemon in, because that way I know I'll always go first no matter what, just in case I'm not using gear. So, with all this being said, we have the Head of Blight here. Now, it's up for this rotation, so you guys know what he does. He does a lot of damage. The poisons are crazy, absolutely crazy. The leech isn't that big of a deal. Sometimes healing the 4 heads in front of you isn't bad because you can plan for just 4, let them slowly heal back over time, which is why the stealing of continuous heal buff by Mischief isn't a bad strategy. What we have to worry about is Blinding Smog. It's a 5-turn cooldown, so I can definitely see where, okay, Murder, not a huge deal, 5-turn cooldown, but it lasts for 2 turns, so technically it's a 3-turn cooldown. Now, how do you prevent this from happening? Block buffs, you apply it to all 4 heads, then you have a 3% chance of that not landing and ruining your run anyways, as well as HP burn. Same thing applies, 3% chance for HP burn not landing, unless you use someone like Ignatius, who is the only guaranteed, I believe, HP burn champion that I can think of that requires no accuracy, 100% chance to land. So this is great. I love the head of play personally because it's kind of straightforward and easy to counter. In comes in the Head of Decay, as we just discussed, who's not in this current rotation here, which, as of right now in this current rotation, Geomancer is really strong, a lot of HP burn champions are strong. If you get the Head of Decay next, usually you restart, because it's that bad. Now we're going to have to deal with it on all 4 heads. If you overgear the content, you may say, Murder, this isn't a big deal, but if your gear is on par with the difficulty you're at, which is a bit rare because of how, I guess, little participation a lot of clans are having for these bosses, you can see why this is a big problem. Now you have to wait until Poison Cloud comes out if you have an HP burner. And this is the thing with the Head of Decay, you cannot wait to apply block buffs unless it's someone like a Gerptuck Mosspear who doesn't have to hit the targets to apply it. If you have someone that has to hit the targets to apply block buff, it's going to weak hit and then not apply while Poison Cloud's up. So this is going to be very frustrating for a lot of players here. I haven't started thinking about team concepts just yet, we are a little bit away, but I do want to make this video early to warn you guys. If you aren't already thoroughly enjoying the Hydra in its current iteration, be warned that this is coming, and this is going to be a pain. I'm sure if I sit down and think about it, I'll be able to come up with a bunch of teams to help everybody out, get through this, just get their chests out of the way. Unfortunately, it's going to be a 4-week rotation, so it's going to be pretty much 4 weeks of Hydra hell when this rotation does come out. And what does that mean? We can expect future rotations if this wasn't bad enough, where they can swap in. I mean, Torment as of right now is easier to deal with if you have Shmael, Duchess. If you don't have them, you're going to be happy on this reset. There is no Torment, so you won't be getting feared. However, if they were to swap something like Head of Suffering with the Head of Mischief on top of Decay, Blight, that can also be a pretty bad one. I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we're about to see next personally because of Head of Suffering. Now, the reason why I'm saying Head of Suffering is so bad is a lot of people are using champions like Mashald who are very strong. And not even just Mashald, other champions as well. Now, all of the damage is going to be reduced. It's going to make the shields harder to break. And like I said, Poison Cloud is going to make you weak hit all the time. Unless you apply those debuffs, you have to start watching turn meters now, because if you apply block buffs and it gets removed and then Poison Clouds put up on a champion that's devoured, what's worse than that? Just think about that for a second. People are mad about having a champion get devoured by the Head of Mischief and they can't target it. What happens if one of the Hydra heads devours one of your damage dealers, and then Poison Cloud goes up, you can hit it for maybe 1 turn, then the Head of Decay cleanses all the buffs, so now you only weak hit that target. Think about how many times you would have to hit a devoured champion with weak hits only to break them out. Absolutely insane. It's just insane. So it's certain things like this where there's a fine line between fun mechanics and things that require, I mean, listen, like I said, theory crafting is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm the biggest advocate ever of theory crafting. I enjoy it thoroughly. When Hydra first came out, I had a genuinely good time because in my opinion, the first reset we ever saw was the easiest. And I thought it was a ton of fun, even though people new content, they're always going to say it's very hard. They thought it was kind of a huge challenge. So the first reset, the second one, the one that we're currently in now, I don't think this is that bad either. I think this is a perfectly fine 4 set of Hydra heads. With me saying that, the fact that I'm hyping this up so much and how much of a nightmare it's going to be, on the next rotation should be a pretty clear indicator as to what you guys should be expecting as far as your mental health goes, because like I said, if you don't already hate the Hydra, if you're kind of like where I'm at, we're like, yeah, it's a little bit of annoying, but it is new, it's something to do in the game. If you, of course, if you have the time, which who has enough time to do everything in the game anyways, but I think the turning point and the tipping point for Plarium is really going to be this next rotation. I really do. I think they have to address it, and I think they're going to see a huge hit in their analytics, and hopefully, based on that, we get to see some real changes. I'm not sure they're going to change the mechanics. I don't really have an idea on what they can do. Maybe they should make certain rotations never be able to appear, because it's, of course, much easier to have 4 heads that you can get damage on. And then as the other heads start swapping in one at a time, you can then adjust your strategy accordingly, and you'll already have some damage under your belt. Worst design ever is to have a player go into the Hydra rotation, which would be the next one or this one or the previous one, not have the champions for it, and they can't even compete straight out of the gate. That is terrible game design. It requires you pulling champions in. You really hate to see it. So I think that should never be any part of core gameplay in this game at all, right? Do you guys agree with me on that? I think that's a pretty fair statement. It should be something where, okay, the first 4, you kind of get your feet wet a little, start doing some damage. That way you're at bare minimum on path to 2 key, 3 key every single rotation where your gear is up to par with the content difficulty in front of you. I think that's good game design. The fact that you can start a rotation, just simply not have the champions. You could have amazing gear, but not have the specific champions that you need to counter all 4 of these heads, and then it's just GG. I guess I wait until next week, then you realize, oh, it's going to be the same thing next week. So now I have nothing to do for 4 weeks until I get 4 heads that make sense with my account, that doesn't require me to wail on 2 times events, 10 times events, summoning events, whatever you guys want to do. And I don't know, kind of a quick rant here on top of things, because I do think this has to be addressed by the company. And if I had to guess, unless they're doing something that they haven't talked about yet, this next rotation that's coming up that I'm talking about here is going to be, and hopefully should be, the turning point for the company to say, okay, the analytics are now crystal clear as to what we have to work on, and then they can go from there. So that's going to conclude this video. Give me your thoughts. I would say who's looking forward to the next reset, but the answer is going to be nobody, unless someone in chat has a brilliant idea just off of watching this after me briefly explaining the 4 heads. Hey, listen, I'm all ears. I'm willing to test anything the first day it comes out. I have no problem doing that. I have plenty of silver here to use, so if you have any ideas, drop them down in the comment section. I'll go over it. I'll think about it in my head. I'll use a spreadsheet, plan out the attacks, the speeds that I would need, and we'll see if it works. The goal here is hopefully I can make a team and a bunch of teams with a bunch of substitutions of champions that's going to work for all players, so they're not brick walled as soon as this next rotation comes out. Alright team, that's going to conclude my video today. Don't forget, if you like these videos, smash that like button, subscribe, turn the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.